Radio studios. Celebrities from TV, music, movies, literature, politics, and show business. At one time or another, they all come to the Ron Sedgy Show. So why don't you?
I needed money 'cause I had none. I fought the law and the law won. I fought the law and the law won.
You can try fighting the law all you want, but the law is always going to win. From politicians and celebrities to sports figures and business leaders, they're fighting the law. Now, here to sort out the nation's top legal news stories is America's favorite legal analyst, Royal Oakes. This is the Royal Oakes Show.
Robbing people with a 6-gun. I fought the law and the law won. I fought the law and the law won.
Thank Mike Horn, and welcome to the Royal Oakes Show, and welcome to our co-host Ken Jeffries.
Hi there,
are you, Ken?
Hi there.
Doing well, I hope.
Yeah, doing fine.
Excellent.
Just enjoying the Christmas, New Year break and all of that stuff.
We don't know if you're doing as well as Connor Oakes because Connor isn't here, but through the magic of Alexander Graham Bell's invention, Connor is with us by phone. Connor Oakes, can you hear us?
Yes, I can.
All right, and you're still our millennial correspondent, correct?
I am. Happy to be here, as always.
Excellent. Well, glad you could join us, even if it's remotely. So the big stories we're going to run down. Shutdown Palooza, of course. We've got to find out who's going to blink over the shutdown. The shutdown in 1995 or 96 was 21 days, so we got a ways to go before that, but we shall see. Kevin Spacey's a very difficult week, of course. He's going to be arraigned in Massachusetts in a week or two, right?
And of course, last week he issued that bizarre video.
Very bizarre video.
Yeah.
I don't know if you've seen it. I watched the whole thing. It's only 3 minutes.
I saw it too.
It wasn't too much of a struggle to get through it.
I had to take a shower after I saw it, I think, or something.
So this video, was it a veiled "I didn't do it" or is he just nuts? We'll hash that out. We'll talk Russia. Apparently, Michael Cohen might have lied about the Prague connection. Maybe he was in Czechoslovakia after. What a shock! Michael Cohen lied. This is so weird.
Maybe that bounced a couple of checks.
Yes, right. And public opinion surveys tell us that the public trusts Robert Mueller and not Donald Trump on the issue of collusion, so that's bad. Will bars in California close at 4 a.m. next year instead of 2 a.m.? That's a big hot-button issue. And bad news for Hillary. They've got updated polls for the Democrats wanting to be president in 2020, and here's the result. Hillary is dead last out of 12. She's behind Kamala. She's behind Beto. She's behind Bernie.
Harold Stassen, I think.
She's behind Harold Stassen.
The late Harold, Adlai Stevenson.
And California scheming. Crime rate is soaring because of early release of felons and felony downgrades, and there's going to be more of the same under the Gavin Newsom administration, we think. Our Moron of the Week feature, I'll just tease that. The author of The Color Purple is allegedly a moron.
Oh, yeah.
In the opinion of many folks. So we're going to get into that. And in our Bizarro World segment of the show, we're going to get into a police-administered colonoscopy that I think you'll find it difficult to believe. So, top story, Shutdown Palooza. It was so weird. It was kind of teed up with that weird smackdown in the Oval Office between Nancy and Chuck on the one hand and Donald Trump on the other. And he said, "I'm going to own it. This will be my shutdown if you won't build my wall." And now he's, I think, trying to point fingers.
It's like, never mind.
Yeah. So, Connor Oakes, from your remote location, what's your expectation? Do you think the government's going to be shut down for what, 5-6 months?
Not quite 5 or 6 months. I would take Feb 1st. It would be my magic number. And
that's a long time. That would be about 40 days.
That's an incredibly
40
long
days
time.
and 40 nights.
And the reason that I think that it might go on that long, for no god darn good reason, is that the idiots in the Trump administration think that they are somehow tainting Pelosi's incoming term and damaging her agenda and taking the focus off what she wants to get done. This is, in fact, Pelosi, as we saw when she was, it was decided whether she was going to be the new speaker, she was coming in under a cloud. She was coming in under sort of discussions about really whether we wanted an older Democrat from the older establishment to run things in the House, and she managed to get the Speaker of the House position again, but she came in with a somewhat divided base of Democrats underneath her, some of whom were jockeying for political position. This shutdown will, in fact, tighten that all up. This shutdown will unite all Democrats against Donald Trump and will be a big boon to Pelosi. And as soon as the shutdown deal occurs and finally the government does reopen, I think Pelosi will be in an even better position. And I think that the Trump people are misjudging the situation if they think that they can cast aspersions on her leadership as opposed to the aspersions will be cast on Trump's leadership.
That's one millennial's opinion, and oh my gosh, we're out of time, folks. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next. Oh no, I'm exaggerating.
Good night, everybody.
So we've heard the millennial position, Connor. Now let's get the boomer position from Ken Jeffries. Ken, what about the idea that the Schumer shutdown helped the Trump administration a year ago, and what about the fact that by keeping the wall, the immigration issue on the front burner, even if Trump gets a little flack over the shutdown, at least he's dictating the national conversation on the issue that he really likes. Maybe that's in his favor?
Well, so it may be one of the few issues that he's harping on it and harping on it and harping on it.
But isn't that good for him? Because I think his base loves it.
Because he can keep tweeting about it.
Yeah, a good chunk of the middle of the country, in terms of the political spectrum, they're sensitive to the idea we don't really want to be invaded by foreigners coming across the border. And now we see this situation of the illegal immigrant killing the officer.
And by the way, he tweeted this morning blaming Democrats for the death of that kid. For the death of one of the children.
Because we've had a second child die in custody.
This past week, he blamed, if I have this right, and I think I do, he blamed it on Democrats, and enough of these political footballs. And it's now the Democratic shutdown, and then all this. Now it's going to be that the Democrats are killing little kids, and we're not talking about abortion, pro-choice here. We're talking about kids dying at the border. Who owns that? Is that a Trump thing? Is it a Pelosi thing? Is that?
Connor, do you think that Schumer suffers from any of the hypocrisy arguments? Because, they rolled out the video of him talking on the Senate floor, I think in 2009 or 13, one of those 2 years, and he's saying exactly what Trump is saying in terms of we need a wall, we need to stop illegal immigration.
Did he say we need a wall?
He was absolutely talking about
a physical
barrier. Yes, this is exactly what Schumer said, and it's very consistent with what Pelosi was saying about illegal immigrants in the 1990s. And so I think, some of those clips, they do show some evidence of hypocrisy, and I think Trump is getting some mileage out of that. Connor, don't you think that helps Trump?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, Pelosi and Schumer have the curse of a long and successful political career behind them. It looks like flip-flopping when the political conversation changes, and the political conversation frequently changes as people move in and out of power. If you are the party whose advantage it serves to drum up fear and demand that the public feel a revulsion towards an other, that you can other, and therefore other as a verb, point the finger of blame at, if you need a scapegoat for your economy or crime or whatever else, immigration has been a popular scapegoat for literally ever throughout all of history. And so this is a terrible thing that Pelosi and Schumer have to carry around like a weight around their neck, that they have exploited this issue in the past, and that it will come back to bite them in the future, as it is now.
When you refer to Pelosi's career, I think actually technically it's multiple careers, because I think every surgical incarnation of her face has represented a different career.
Yeah.
Ken, do you object?
It's like a tree with the rings. You got to chop the tree and look at the rings.
That was a cheap shot, Ken.
It was a cheap shot.
So let's move on to some cheap shots against Kevin Spacey. Not a really great week for him. So Kevin Spacey allegedly in, I think, 2016 was hanging out at a Massachusetts bar.
Allegedly.
He shows up at 10 or 11 o'clock at night with his manager. They're having a drink. Everybody's having a good time. And the manager leaves and Kevin's there. Well, a busboy is working for the restaurant, and his shift is over at midnight. And doggone it, there's Kevin Spacey. Might as well, strike up a conversation. So he changes out of his busboy outfit, he changes his clothes, and he strikes up a conversation with Kevin Spacey. Next thing you know, Kevin's pouring drinks down this guy's gullet. The guy lies to Kevin Spacey. He says he's 23 years old when, in fact, he's 18 years old. And, of course, 21's the drinking age in Massachusetts. Next thing you know, they're singing songs by the piano. They're smoking cigarettes outside. and Kevin Spacey allegedly starts to grope the guy, puts his hand down his pants. According to the guy's allegations, he doesn't know what to do. He freezes. What's happening? Kevin Spacey groping me. What he does know what to do, he pulls out his iPhone and he does a Snapchat, Instagram, some kind of a video recordation of the incident. And because he's been texting his girlfriend all evening, oh my God, I'm hanging out with Kevin Spacey. You're not going to believe it. Well, she didn't believe it. So to prove it, he sent a video of being groped to his girlfriend. So that video apparently is in the possession of the authorities, who are going to arraign Kevin Spacey in 2 weeks for sexual abuse. And meantime, Connor, I don't know if you saw the video or heard it, but Kevin Spacey issued a video the day of the announcement of the arraignment, a 3-minute video in character as Frank Underwood, saying a lot of things like, let's not rush to judgment, you got to wait till all the facts come in. Is he talking about his part as Frank Underwood, written out because of the Me Too movement and his sexual abuse allegations? Is he talking about real world? I don't know. You had a chance, Ken, to see
I saw it.
video?
I saw the whole thing, and I thought it was a direct reference to the charges against him, and also almost like a demo reel that he was sending to producers saying, please hire me, I'm still a good actor, and all that other kind of stuff. So I'll do this in my guise as Frank Underwood, the President of the United States, the fake President of the United States, in House of Cards, that I can do this, and I can also address the allegations against me at the same time.
Yeah, he said, you wouldn't judge folks without having all the facts first, would you? You're too smart for that.
Right.
Now, Connor, you saw it. What did you think of the video?
I thought it was stomach churning. I thought it was disgusting. I thought that.
Are you sure you didn't have some bad seafood that day?
I thought that these were the actions of a guy who is so disconnected from reality, from society, from the zeitgeist of this moment that we're living in the last 2 or 3 years. So, who thought he could just talk his way out of a corner, as he's done in many situations throughout his
right.
Hollywood career, I'm sure, talked his way out by being a charismatic, powerful, rich, famous, influential guy who thinks.
Hey, it sounds like Harvey Weinstein, doesn't it?
It's basically just like Harvey Weinstein. And in this situation, he's putting himself out there and under the microscope, the scrutiny of everybody who has heard these terrible, terrible allegations against him about the 14-year-old boy and then the dozen people who have accused him of sexual assault of one form or another. And he's basically trying to laugh it off and say, these allegations, take them about as seriously as you take my character's actions, my criminal character on the show House of Cards, on which I act. Instead of saying this is a serious issue that the police and society as a whole have to judge and decide whether or not I did something right or wrong. If he had gone out there and made a video where he said, this is Kevin Spacey, I'm an innocent man, people are rushing to judgment, wait for all the facts, blah, 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 we could have said, okay, that sounds like a guy who's taking this seriously and responsibly. Instead, it looks like he's deflecting, and he's taking this no more seriously than the fiction than he creates.
You know what? I just thought of something, Royal, and I think you may remember this. And years ago, we may have had you on KFWD
My 8th
talking
grade
about
teacher?
this. Huh?
Never mind. Go ahead.
No. When Michael Jackson was arrested for, exposing himself and all that other stuff, he made a video and directly addressed this. Do you remember that?
I don't remember that. I didn't remember that he made a video. Apparently, you're saying he just said he wasn't in character. Obviously, he was just saying I'm innocent.
As Michael, that's right. And he said the authorities they forced me to take pictures. I think he used the phrase including my penis. Does anyone remember this at all? Or
I don't remember it, but
I'm pretty sure.
We're going to look it up on the internet.
Yeah, we'll do that.
Was this a fever dream?
It was at least straightforward.
Yeah,
and
Connor, I think you put your finger on it when you mentioned the many other accusations. But for the dozen other accusations, I think this actually would have been very effective for Kevin Spacey, because by doing the video, he behaved in a way that's inconsistent with the way a guilty person would normally behave. A guilty person would say, I didn't do it, I hereby declare my innocence. That's not what he did. He did this cute, bizarre thing in character, and it's almost like he has the confidence to think outside the box. And there are a lot of problems with this guy's accusations. He didn't go to the cops for a year, and he also has hired the top personal injury lawyer in Massachusetts. When we come back, more on Kevin Spacey on The Royal Oak Show.
We'll be back on CRN with The Royal Oak Show.
Hey Lorraine, do you realize that your mother, my mother-in-law, Chef Maria, has been serving Las Vegas since 1949?
Yes, I do, Dennis. That's when she first met Howard Hughes, who fell in love with her cooking.
And in 1955, she opened her first restaurant on Fremont Street.
Yes, dear. And another great customer was Liberace.
Wow. Then in 1962, while Frank Sinatra and the Rat Pack were causing global excitement on the Las Vegas Strip, your family opened their second restaurant.
And in 1972, Elvis Presley began electrifying Las Vegas audiences and eating in our restaurant.
You know, Lorraine, this is quite a town. There's only one Las Vegas.
And there's only one Bootlegger Italian Bistro.
Folks, when you're in Las Vegas, come visit us. We'll make you feel like you're part of our family.
The Bootlegger Italian Bistro, conveniently located at 7700 Las Vegas Boulevard, South Strip. Visit our website at www.bootleggerlasvegas.com.
Do you want to fly somewhere, anywhere in the world? Smart travelers call myflightsearch.com for the best deals on flight tickets. Going to Manila, Bangkok, London, how about Singapore? Call myflightsearch.com for the lowest flight tickets available. What about a local vacation? Let's say you want to fly to Vegas, Orlando, Miami, Los Angeles, or Denver. Pick up the phone and call myflightsearch.com right now. We have exclusive deals that you can't find anywhere else. The only way you can get these low airline prices is by calling us. We have so many low prices available, we can't possibly tell them to you right here and now. If you're flying somewhere anytime in the next 6 months and you want the lowest airline ticket prices anywhere, you owe it to yourself to save a ton of money. So pick up your cell phone and call myflightsearch.com right now.
Call 800-445-3166. 800-445-3166. That's 800-445-3166. Call now. 800-445-3166.
Hi, everybody. Michael Horn from CRNTalk.com. You know, we provide you with the best in talk radio. 8 channels of talk radio, from radio on the left, radio on the right, sports talk, business talk, religious talk, Spanish talk, you name it, we've got talk radio for you. All at CRNTalk.com. Well, now we'll bring you video as well as audio. That's right. Watch your favorite shows like The Robert Conrad Show, The Fred Dreyer Program, What's Cooking Today, What's Cooking on Wine, The Lounge, and so many other shows in video right at our website, crntalk.com. You can also watch us on Roku. Just search CRN Talk, and you can watch us on Roku on any TV anywhere in the world. Also on Facebook Live. Go to facebook.com/CRN Digital Talk. Facebook.com/CRN Digital Talk. Roku, search CRN Talk. Check us out on Tiki Live and at crntalk.com. Video for you talk fans, all from CRN Talk.
Welcome back to the Royal Oak Show with our co-host Ken Jeffries and our millennial correspondent Connor Oakes, talking about Kevin Spacey's very bizarre week. And during our break, Ken, you confirmed that yes, Michael Jackson did do a video, and you played a few seconds of it, but it was totally straight. It was, this is Michael Jackson; he's not playing a part.
I remember it very well, and he looked at the camera. And we pulled up a clip from CNN. It said live from Neverland Ranch, Neverland Valley, whatever it was. And that's right. He just talked directly into the camera, which to me was much more effective than Kevin Spacey in character doing a Frank Underwood. But,
Absolutely.
So, Connor, I want your take on whether or not the key really is the multiple victims, because let's go back to Phil Spector. He had 4 or 5 women the judge allowed to testify saying, yeah, Phil got drunk, waved a gun in my face, I'm lucky to be alive, and so he got convicted. It took 2 trials, but they got him. Bill Cosby comes along. The judge allows only 1 accuser other than the accuser, so 2 women, and the jury is hung. They can't decide. The second trial, the judge, without explanation, decides, I'm going to let 5 or 6 more women testify. Blammo, he gets convicted. I think that without the other dozen or so people who claim to be victims of Kevin Spacey, I think he walks. This guy waits a year to tell the cops. He lied about his age. He was drunk. He probably voluntarily was, hanging out and mixing it up with Kevin Spacey. he sends a video by Instagram of what's happening to his girlfriend. I mean, if you have been assaulted, a victim of a crime, do you take a video of it and send it to your girlfriend to prove you're with a movie star and then don't tell anybody, don't go to the cops for a year? And now he hires the top personal injury lawyer in Massachusetts, who has won tens of millions for victims of sex abuse by priests in the Roman Catholic Church in Massachusetts. This guy is looking for a gigantic payday. You add all that up, and without the jury in a case against Kevin Spacey for this incident, knowing about his other indiscretions with other people, illegal conduct, I don't think that he goes down. Now, the problem is the judge may well do what the judge in Pennsylvania did in the Cosby case. The problem for Spacey may be the judge will say, look, this is a pattern of misconduct. But there's a bias against that, because without a clear pattern, a signature MO example of misconduct, judges usually say, I don't want to prejudice the jury with all this extraneous stuff. Connor, what do you think the judge might do here?
Here, I think he's probably going to go the way of the ordinary procedure, which is to keep most of this stuff out, because it's not really a signature crime. It's not like Bill Cosby, who drugged them all with the same type of Quaaludes, or Phil Spector even, who waved a gun around in the exact same way and threatened people's lives whenever he got drunk. This is simply a guy who has a pattern of sexual abuse that probably manifested itself in different ways at different times in different locations with different people. So there's nothing really that much of a signature about it. But I really want to get back to your assertion that this is incompatible with or seemingly incompatible with the actions of a guilty man. I mean, maybe I can see a guilty or innocent person doing this. And in addition, I just can't imagine what went through Spacey's mind and the minds of the people he probably bounced this idea off of before he did it. And nobody said, Kevin, why are you reprising the role of the most skin-crawlingly creepy, evil character you've ever played?
Well, it was like J.R. Ewing, though. Larry Hagman wasn't really J.R. Ewing. He was just playing a part, and that's what Kevin Spacey does as Frank Underwood, right?
But Kevin even doubles down on it. He says, basically, you've watched me play these characters, these villains. You've cast me, society cast me as a villain for years. It's what you wanted the whole time. And therefore, you knew I was like this the whole time, so you should accept my villainous nature in real life. What kind of an argument is that?
Yeah.
Who thinks that that's a good and persuasive thing?
It is weird. And for those folks who don't watch House of Cards religiously, the concept of the show was Kevin Spacey was a congressman who worked his way up to the presidency of the United States by murdering people, by lying, cheating, and stealing. And so the thing is, I saw Mark Garagos on CNN talking about this, and I think he was being diplomatic. He said, well, it was a bold move. It was an unorthodox move. And so I think the consensus of criminal defense attorneys is kind of stupid, just shut up and let us do our job. But Kevin Spacey maybe is a bullheaded guy, and I'm sure he's lawyered up, and I'm sure his lawyer probably said this is a bad idea. But Kevin Spacey's attitude, I think, was, I just want to get the word out that people shouldn't rush to judgment until the facts
Maybe he
are
just did it by himself and released it by himself. You can do that, too, without telling anybody.
Could be.
Yeah,
that's very possible.
maybe.
Hey, guys, let's switch to the week that the president had, because he had a surprise visit to Iraq. And we're going to talk when we come back about whether or not it was overly political. Some people are criticizing him. Of course, it's interesting that the folks who are criticizing him for being political, there were MAGA hats there with the troops. They're the ones who just the day before were highly critical of the president for not having visited the troops in a war zone in 2 years. And let's face it, many people in the media, it's all about regime change. There's nothing that Trump can do that is right. But President Obama, it was noted, visited the troops in a war zone for the last time late in his administration. And during the visit, he slammed Trump, who was running against Hillary Clinton, his Secretary of State. We'll talk about whether the criticism was fair when we come back on The Royal Oak Show.
We'll be back on CRN with The Royal Oak Show. Hi, everybody. Michael Horn from CRNTalk.com. We provide you with the best in talk radio. 8 channels of talk radio, from radio on the left, radio on the right, sports talk, business talk, religious talk, Spanish talk, you name it, we've got talk radio for you. All at CRNTalk.com. Well, now we'll bring you video as well as audio. That's right. Watch your favorite shows like The Robert Conrad Show, The Fred Dreyer Program, What's Cooking Today, What's Cooking on Wine, The Lounge, and so many other shows in video right at our website, crntalk.com. You can also watch us on Roku. Just search CRN Talk, and you can watch us on Roku on any TV anywhere in the world. Also on Facebook Live. Go to facebook.com/CRN Digital Talk. Facebook.com/CRN Digital Talk. Roku, search CRN Talk. Check us out on Tiki Live and at crntalk.com. Video for you talk fans, all from CRN Talk.
When you really want Italian food, you've got to get to Columbo's. Columbo's Italian Steakhouse and Jazz Club, Colorado Boulevard, Eagle Rock. It's that little neighborhood place you wish was down the street from you. Seekers of luscious and appetizing gustatorial pursuits, indulge your fancies with steaks so absolutely yum-yum. Vegetarians have forsaken kale and Pilates and never look back. Fish specialties so fresh and delicious and chosen by King Neptune himself, and relish Columbo's Italian family specialties so delectable you'll be yelling out, bravo, bravo! And let's not forget Columbo's world-famous meatballs, and you've got to try their breakfast pizza. Oh, and jazz every night. Service that's friendly, not fawning, and at a price that'll keep you coming back. That's Columbo's, that little neighborhood place you wish was down the street from you. Columbo's, Manja.
Do you want to fly somewhere, anywhere in the world? Smart travelers call myflightsearch.com for the best deals on flight tickets. Going to Manila, Bangkok, London, how about Singapore? Call myflightsearch.com for the lowest flight tickets available. What about a local vacation? Let's say you want to fly to Vegas, Orlando, Miami, Los Angeles, or Denver. Pick up the phone and call myflightsearch.com right now. We have exclusive deals that you can't find anywhere else. The only way you can get these low airline prices is by calling us. We have so many low prices available, we can't possibly tell them to you right here and now. If you're flying somewhere anytime in the next 6 months and you want the lowest airline ticket prices anywhere, you owe it to yourself to save a ton of money. So pick up your cell phone and call myflightsearch.com right now.
Call 800-445-3166. 800-445-3166. That's 800-445-3166. Call now. 800-445-3166.
If Ernest Hemingway was alive today, would he say this to you?
Shakespeare, Mark Twain, Edgar Allan Poe, all great writers. And after reading your book, I simply must add you to the list.
Wait, you don't have a book yet. So make a free call to Page Publishing. Their expert staff can help you turn your book idea into a real book, a masterpiece that could someday make the bestseller list in hard copy and digitally all across the world. Page Publishing can help you completely take your idea for a book, write it, and publish it. So if you want to join the ranks of some of the most famous authors in the world, call now for a free information kit. Turn your book idea into publishing gold. Make a free call right now to Page Publishing.
800-378-3212. 800-378-3212. 800-378-3212. That's 800-378-3212.
Welcome back to the Royal Oak Show with our co-host Ken Jeffries and our correspondent Connor Oakes. So, Connor, you heard me bloviating about how poor Donald Trump is being abused by the mainstream media for the fact that he handed out some MAGA caps to the troops. So, what do you think? Do you think the president sort of abused his presidential prerogative over there in Iraq?
Sure. I am not too persuaded that the sort of politicization of a visit to the troops that we see, him being demonized for in the media is really a major problem. I think all presidents, when they go visit the troops, they turn it into a political exercise and a political circus. And yes, Obama is as guilty of doing the same sort of thing. But the penalty for having done so, and one that the Obama administration did pay at least once in the past, was that the campaign, the Obama re-election campaign, had to pay for the costs of the trip that Air Force One took to the war zone to visit the troops because they had turned it into a somewhat political visit. Now, Trump, of course, refuses to pay that. Shocker. Trump is being stingy.
He's a very frugal guy.
Unusual for him. Yeah, exactly. So in this scenario, Trump should take his lumps and say, you're right, I should not have signed those MAGA hats on camera and then pass them out and pay for the cost of the trip. The real issue with Trump was that Trump's campaign is so dumb that once again, another breach of security protocols, he outed SEAL Team 5 for its location and operations in Iraq.
Oh, I missed
by
that.
Not blurring the faces of the SEALs that he took photos of.
Yeah, I heard about that too. Yeah.
Oh, gee, I didn't hear that. What, has he also revealed the nuclear codes in a tweet?
Yeah, he just carried the nuclear football under his arm with the codes clearly visible out from under his armpit.
I think it was 1, 2, 3, wasn't it? It was the combination was.
It's like my
0,
passwords.
0.
Yeah, they're unbreakable.
Password 1.
Well, let's stick with Trump, but move slightly over to Russia. You know, after a kind of a Russia tsunami of information and news reports for months and months, this holiday season has been rather devoid of Russian news, except I note that Michael Cohen, the fixer lawyer for Donald Trump, who, although he's throwing Trump under the bus, has always maintained and continues to maintain, doggone it, I didn't go to Prague, Czechoslovakia on some trip in some key period during the campaign, and there hasn't been any evidence that he did go, but now apparently they're pinging, the pinging from his cell phone has been discovered, so it turns out maybe he did go there, and I guess that's going to support the idea that the Trump folks were in fact sort of conspiring with Russia in some way.
Yeah, this is perhaps what we could say is the most likely smoking gun that could manifest from this investigation. You've got Michael Cohen was Trump's personal fixer, who is alleged in the Steele dossier, one of the later parts of the Steele dossier, whole communication from that British spy. He is alleged to have traveled to Prague and to have dodged Czech border control by going overland in the neighborhood.
Well, that's because they don't have a wall on their border, Connor.
Exactly. Very irresponsible of them. But he's alleged to have done that to avoid the passport stamp and in order to deliver basically a briefcase full of cash to a bunch of Eastern European hackers who hacked the DNC and thus got communications.
Whoa, no, where does that information come from? I haven't heard that. Who has provided evidence that he was handing a suitcase full of money for hacking?
Well, those are the allegations that the Steele dossier contained.
Okay,
with respect
well,
to
there are
Michael
some
Cohen,
credibility issues
Michael
with the
Cohen
Steele
said,
dossier, but...
Well, that's exactly it. And it had been uncorroborated. People said there's no reason to believe that he had been in Prague. But then now, all of a sudden, we have cell phone towers pinging his cell phone outside of Prague, which indicates another, indication that the Steele dossier might not have been false after all.
Well, I'm sure Mueller is all over the issue. The other angle on Russia is the Suffolk University USA Today poll that was just out saying that most people surveyed, 53%, have a lot of trust or some trust in Robert Mueller's investigation. Just 38% have little or no trust. And in contrast, 59% express little or no trust in the president's denials. So it sounds like, folks, Ken, are you surprised that the people apparently are believing Mueller as opposed to Trump in terms of the whole collusion allegation?
No, and I want to bring something. I don't mean to throw you a curveball here. All of a sudden, the phrase nude selfie.
How about a knuckleball?
Yeah, knuckleball is good. The nude selfie. You know what that's about?
No.
The term, Connor, have you heard this at all about a nude selfie in the?
All right.
Oh, if anybody's going to do nude selfies, it would be millennials. So Connor's the guy to ask. I literally had never heard.
I saw this online, so I have no idea if it's true. But the phrase nude selfie has worked its way into the Mueller conversation.
Well,
maybe you can explain it.
No one knows whether or not it's true. What we've got is we've got a filing by basically the president's, all the president's men, the president's side of things, who are opposing the Mueller investigation, in which they say there are, many documents that the Mueller investigation team has procured, and they drop in the very end of their filing, they drop in, and by the way, this business of a nude selfie, there's no proof as to who is in the nude selfie and who it was sent to and from. And everybody, of course, on Twitter,
I hope it isn't Mueller.
Says, "Oh God, no! It's the Trump nude selfie."
Oh yeah, again, this is the first time hearing of it. Who supposedly sent a nude selfie, and who did they send it to?
We have literally no indication of who it is of or it was sent to, or even if Mueller really has it. And a lot of people are saying this is basically a flag, a false flag, if you will, that the Russian, the defense lawyers are throwing out there to say, hey, pay attention to our filing, get this filing into the news, and we talk about the nude selfie filing. It'll be in the news cycle, and we'll be able to get some attention on our side of the argument.
Like a keyword or a key phrase, nude selfie, so it'll show up maybe in searches.
Exactly.
Here, let me search Google now for the term nude selfie and see what happens. Okay.
Well, it sounds to me like this is lying about sex, and we know that the American public doesn't care about lying about sex, and that is so pertinent to the whole Trump thing, because it sounds like if you accept Cohen's allegations, then you've got an argument that Trump violated the campaign finance laws because of the Stormy Daniels stuff. But having just read Ken Starr's book Contempt, taking us down memory lane involving the whole Clinton situation in the 90s, the whole lesson was the American public doesn't care if it's lying about sex. They don't care if it's perjury, if it's obstruction of justice, if it's Clinton urging Monica Lewinsky to lie, if it's preventing the...
But that was the basis of the whole case against Clinton, right? After
exactly
the Whitewater thing and all that.
But the American public knew that he'd committed perjury, and they didn't care because they said to themselves, everybody would lie about sex.
And they couldn't get enough votes in the Senate to convict him anyway.
Exactly right. And so I think the American public would look at Trump the same way, especially when it isn't even lying, perjury, it's instead a campaign violation of a technical law. So I think it's all about whether or not Trump is going to be found guilty of some sort of Russian collusion. And so far, we haven't really come up with the evidence of that. So, guys, I wanted to shift gears because there was a very sad moment for Hillary Clinton this week when she picked up the newspaper and saw that in a poll of 12 potential candidates...
She was 13.
Yeah. She was dead last and then some. 14. And I'm kind of surprised here because the idea of turning your back, even though she lost to Donald Trump, she beat him in the popular vote. She got 63 million votes. And the Clinton name has been magic. Was it surprising to you guys that she was dead last in a survey of all the potential candidates?
No. I think people are tired of it and say it's Hillary, sorry, you didn't win. Goodbye.
Yeah.
Goodbye, Felicia.
Yeah, I think that's exactly right. I think the American people love a winner and hate a loser, unjust though it may be. And their attitude is, you had your chance, we're worried. We don't want to put all our eggs in your basket again and just hope against hope somehow you can turn it around and beat Trump this time. We think, Hillary, you blew it. You had your shot. So we want somebody in there, somebody else different who's got a better chance of taking him down. Who that's going to be, I don't know. Is it Joe Biden, the gas machine? Is it Beto, who's about 12 years old and has a very Republican record? Is it Biden?
It may be Beto, because Beto O'Rourke apparently is a cash-raising machine.
Mm-hmm.
And although he lost to Ted Cruz in Texas, we know that, but apparently he is phenomenal, from what I've read, in raising money. And if that's money is the mother's milk of politics. Thank you, Jess Unruh. That might be his ticket to either running for president or vice president under Biden, if that's what's being floated.
Well, the survey was kind of schizophrenic, the one that talked about Hillary being last, because up at the top, the very top number one finisher was a fresh face, not even a particular person. So the consensus is the Democrats and independents want somebody new. But then, weirdly, the next most popular choice was Joe Biden. And you can say a lot of things about Joe Biden, but I don't think you can say that he's a fresh face. I think
the opposite.
The GOP, supposedly, according to some strategy memo that was leaked, they're rooting for Elizabeth Warren or Bernie Sanders, because I think that they want to do what, if you go back in some ancient political history, when the Democrats nominated George McGovern in 1972 against Richard Nixon, it was easy prey. Nixon rolled over him. He beat him 9 states to 1 because he was seen as too radical. And so I think that Trump is hoping that either Bernie, and Trump actually came out this week and said, I hope Elizabeth Warren runs for president because she would destroy the country, would point that out to the American people. She'll be easy to beat. And I think he's telling the truth when he says that he hopes that she runs and would end up being the nominee. I don't think he really wants to have to run against Joe Biden. If the Democrats succumb to the temptation reason to go with a fresh face like this guy O'Rourke from Texas who lost the race against Cruz.
Well, they could put him on the ticket, though. I mean,
well, yeah, but if he's just VP, we know from history that makes essentially no difference. If they wanted to take the bold step of putting him or Kamala Harris or one of the other progressives on the top of the ticket, I think they'd be going with the same temptation the Democrats had in 72 when they were feeling progressive, they were feeling anti-war, and Richard Nixon, the conservative/moderate Republican, crushed him. So, I mean, Connor, from your progressive standpoint, if you could wave a wand, what kind of candidate would you put up against Trump? Would you put somebody really fresh and new and young, or would you go with somebody who maybe would have a better chance of beating Trump?
I would go with fresh and new and young. I think that what we learned from the Clinton campaign, the Hillary Clinton campaign, is that you need to go out and have an affirmative message that people can get excited about. Hillary did the opposite of that. Hillary sat back and was not a fresh face and rested on her laurels, the Clinton name, her history, a massive political experience, which, of course, does qualify you to be president and should have. But instead of respecting that, the American public said, we're not excited about you. You're not new. And since you're not, all the entire message that Hillary put out there was Trump is bad, I'm the good candidate. Everybody's response to that was, yawn, you're boring. I don't want just to vote for the good candidate. I'll get, complacent and stay home. I need somebody who's affirmatively exciting, who's doing something different, who I can get excited about and go out there and say hope and change in Obama, blah, 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 blue wave. That is what gets people going. And just being anti the Trumps of the world was not enough for Hillary, and I don't think it'll be enough for the next candidate.
We don't know what's going to happen yet in 2 years. 2 years is still a long time. Now, but we always like to, it's always political season in Washington, right?
These days, 24/7.
Yes, it's a 24/7 because the cable, because of the cable news and everything else. But
one of the lessons that the Democrats might try to learn is expressed in a new book by Ben Bradley Jr., and I assume he's the son of the famous Washington Post guy, and he's a newspaper guy himself. And he wrote a book about why Donald Trump won, and what he focused on is a single county in the state of Pennsylvania. And this is a blue-collar, lower-class, lower-middle-class county that traditionally was pro-Democrat, voted for Obama pretty heavily both times. And so what this author did was he focused on those three critical states of Michigan, Pennsylvania, and Wisconsin, which gave the election to Donald Trump, surprisingly. And in particular, by focusing on this one county in Pennsylvania, what he did in interviews with hundreds of people was that he learned that folks of all stripes in that community, they felt disrespected by elites. They felt that they had been forgotten, and even if they were kind of liberal or if they were Democrats, they didn't like the idea that these flyover people who fly from Malibu to Manhattan, and they don't look down literally on people, but they look down metaphorically on folks. They felt disrespected, and part of it is immigration, but part of it is just the whole cultural attitude of the elites feeling that they're better than the folks in Pennsylvania. And a friend of mine is a lawyer in Philadelphia, and he told me that when Obama was recorded at some wine and cheese thing in Mill Valley, California, talking to people he didn't know he was being recorded, and he said the problem with a lot of people is that they bitterly cling to their guns and religion, and that went viral, and that struck such a chord, it resonated with people, and what a lot of people said is, you know what, I just don't like that attitude. And in fact, there's a bumper sticker in Pennsylvania that's very popular, and it says, I'm a bitter clinger, and that actually turned the tide for Donald Trump. So my point is, if the Democrats don't learn that lesson, if they are going to stick to their guns about immigration and all these cultural issues, and bring somebody up to represent their position, who basically is going to continue this attitude of looking down on the kind of folks who went for Trump, Trump is just going to ride this populist, nationalist, anti-immigrant, we're afraid of invaders attitude. And I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if Trump is able to get reelected if he has that kind of an opponent.
Yeah, and the interesting part is, here's Trump, a guy from New York. You would think anybody from New York would be liberal. This it's the craziest thing, and he is also a flyover guy too. He looks down on but he did it. He pulled it off. He's for the common man. The uncommon president for the common man.
It makes absolutely no sense. It makes absolutely no sense, but it all it takes is the pandering part. You don't actually have to walk the walk. You just have to talk the talk. You can be a purportedly billionaire real estate developer from New York who probably wipes the bottom of his shoes with normal human beings. But as long as you say, I am pro the common man and immigrants are the problem, people will believe you and choose you over the Democrats.
So, Connor, have I changed your mind with my bitter Klinger soliloquy? Do you now believe that Joe Biden is going to be the strongest and best candidate for the Democrats in 2 years?
I actually do.
Oh, well, good. I actually persuaded somebody of something. This is a first. Hey, we've been so into this, guys. We've been ignoring our features. When we come back, moron of the week, guess the verdict, and more on the Royal Oak Show.
We'll be back on CRN with the Royal Oak Show.
Looking for an intimate, romantic getaway? Escape to Maui's premier bed and breakfast, The Plantation Inn, a quiet oasis in the heart of Lahaina town. Guest rooms and suites offer Hawaiian plantation decor, combined with modern amenities, and surrounded a serene courtyard with a pool, jacuzzi, and lush tropical foliage. The inn is located just steps from Lahaina's historic Front Street for an easy stroll to museums, galleries, shops, and restaurants. Call 667-9225 or visit theplantationinn.com and plan your getaway now.
Were you scammed into signing a timeshare contract? And did you miss the part that said you have to pay for your great idea? Not only for the rest of your life, but when you're not here anymore, you get to pass this turkey onto your family for them to pay for the rest of their lives. Thanks, Dad. Don't burden your family down the road, and don't be stuck with expensive timeshare payments forever. Get out of your bad idea timeshare contract guaranteed, or pay nothing. Call Resort Release today and learn for free how their timeshare exit team can help you legally exit your timeshare contract. They've helped thousands of people, and they're A+ rated with a BBB. So if you feel scammed, get mad and get out of your expensive timeshare contract right now, guaranteed. Call NOW.
800-716-9903. 800-716-9903. 800-716-9903. That's 800-716-9903.
Enjoy Tiki Live, the best cable alternative choice today, with hundreds of premium live TV programming, including ESPN, CNN, Fox News, Disney, AMC, Bravo, XF, OWN, and CRN Talk. Plus no contracts and low month-to-month service. Tiki Live, servicing North America, including the Caribbean. To get started, visit TikiLive.com to order hundreds of channels, including CRN Talk, at a fraction of what you're paying today. Visit TikiLive.com. That's TikiLive.com.
You order a glass of your favorite Cabernet, fresh asparagus, hollandaise on the side, a filet, medium rare. You unfurl your napkin with a flair, close your eyes, and prepare to listen. Ah, there it is. The sweet music you long to hear. The sizzle. The sizzle of a Ruth's Chris steak.
The most magnificent corn-fed prime beef, broiled to perfection at 1800 degrees. Some call it a sizzle. We call it an anthem.
As the waiter approaches, you think, is this one mine or that one?
Ruth's Chris Steakhouse. Like Ruth always said, life's too short to eat anywhere else.
Make a reservation online at ruthschris.com or by calling 800-544-0808.
Welcome back to the Royal Oak Show with our co-host Ken Jeffries and Badfinger.
Day After Day.
Baby Blue.
Was it
Baby Blue, actually.
The Day After Day was another one.
And I know because I'm obsessed with Breaking Bad, and this was the song that they played over the finale as Walter White was, spoiler alert, dying. I
won't tell anybody.
Yeah, okay. Don't tell anybody. And our millennial correspondent, Connor Oakes, is with us, too. So, Connor, and Ken, here is our candidate for Moron of the Week. Alice Walker, author of the acclaimed novel The Color Purple, okay? She is she's praising a book and an author. The book is called And the Truth Will Set You Free by David Icke. And she's saying, I believe he's brave enough to ask the questions others fear to ask and to speak his own understanding of the truth wherever it might lead. But the problem with Mr. Icky is that his book draws on ideas from the anti-Semitic pamphlet, The Protocols of the Elders of Zion, argues the Holocaust denial should be taught in schools, Jews are responsible for organizing anti-Semitic attacks, and calls the Talmud a racist document. In other writings, he's posited that a cabal of a child-sacrificing, bloodthirsty lizard people, many of whom are Jewish, are secretly running the world. So this guy's a nutcase. So why is this lady, Alice Walker, defending him?
You're saying the lizard people are Jewish?
This guy is saying that, yeah.
Wow.
This is not Harold Icky. I mean, Harold Icky was the political. This is David Icky, and she, the author of Color
Walker.
Purple, is supporting him. So what's wrong with her? Why is she doing this?
What's going on is she is extremely, extremely confused and is probably in her, I don't know, advanced age, probably lost it. She got a lot of flack online for this, and it actually turned into a very interesting conversation about how do we separate the artist from her work, how do we regard her work once we discover that she personally has these questionable views, which is the same way people feel about, how do we feel about Thriller once we discover, what Michael Jackson really did to a bunch of kids.
Right. Okay, guys, now that we've determined that she's a moron, I think it's unanimous, we are going to move to our other favorite feature, and that is Guess the Verdict. Here's a case about a Caribbean cruise, guys, and I want you to guess the outcome of this legal dispute. A German couple goes on a Caribbean cruise expecting to have some quiet rest or maybe some Latin American rhythms, but they find themselves on a cruise ship filled with a convention of Swiss yodelers who can't shut up. All they want to do on the high seas is yodel, bellowing at the top of their lungs. So the German couple goes to court asking for their money back because it just ruined their otherwise peaceful Caribbean cruise. So, Ken Jeffries, what would you guess? Who would win, the German couple or the cruise folks who sold out to the yodelers?
Yeah, I think the cruise folks would probably win because they don't. I don't think you're guaranteed peace and quiet.
There's no fine print.
I don't think so. Like going to ban yodelers on the cruise. Anyway, that's
all right. Connor Oakes, what's your guess? What do you think about
there's this legal concept called assumption of the risk, and if you go to a baseball game, on the back of your ticket it says you're assuming the risk that you'll be hit in the face with a baseball.
So listening to a Swiss yodeler is like taking a foul ball in the forehead?
Exactly, because I think annoying co-passengers on a cruise is fully within the reasonable scope of the risk you take when you buy a cruise ticket or get hit in the face with a baseball. That's to be expected on a cruise. Other people suck, and you have to expect that those people are going to suck and ruin your whole vacation.
I don't know.
If the boat had gone down and it all drowned, that's not within the scope of the risk that you expect when you buy a cruise ticket.
A little yodel here and there, I think that you'd have to put up with, but a convention of Swiss yodelers that night and day destroyed your peace and quiet? I would have voted for the couple.
So what was the answer?
Well, it was a trick question, guys, because it's kind of like that deal about when you hold the bird and you ask the man, is the bird alive or dead? And the man says, I know your trick, you little creep. If I say dead, you'll let it fly. If I say alive, you'll crush it to death. So I'll be wrong either way. So you guys didn't know that the Frankfurt court gave them half of their money back. So it was a half of a win and half of a loss. We didn't have time to talk about the bars closing at 4 a.m. instead of 2 a.m. We'll get to that next week on the Royal Oak Show. Everybody have a great week.
Enjoy.